Good morning, my loves. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day today. I have the fan blowing towards me because it is hot. I hope it's not too noticeable in the background, but I felt called to make this video where I share the two practices that I've been doing every single day almost, and it has been transforming my life. Interestingly, nothing in my physical reality has changed, but my internal world has shifted so much. And as you know, how we operate internally also changes our perception on the feeling of enoughness for our external world, right? So these two practices that I'm going to be sharing have been shifting me out of this constant state of dissatisfaction and not enoughness to now I just feel so abundant and at peace with what is. I've been reading this book, The Magic, every single day for around the past 2 weeks. I'm halfway through. It's a book where for 27 days it gives you gratitude practices. So these two practices that I'm sharing are from this book. Just to give you a little bit of context, I feel like for a lot of this last year, I've just been feeling like no matter how much I wanted to feel good and enough and just at peace with my life circumstances, I just felt like, it was always a few steps in front of me, that feeling of contentment. But over the past month, I realized that I have everything that I need in my life to be happy and to thrive and to blossom. And I always knew that. I always knew that I didn't want to adopt a core belief that I needed something more in order to experience this deeper sense of peace and enoughness. I always knew that if I operated like that, then no matter how much I would accumulate, whether it was in relationships or in material objects, that at some future date, that sense of chasing another thing would always follow me. One area where I really felt the sense of lack and dissatisfaction was with my community. I was so desperate in trying to make friendships and trying to replace the community that I walked away from in the last year, where every action that I was doing, even though on the surface it was from this place of, I guess, love and from this genuine honoring of my need for belonging and to surround myself with people who share the same values, because underneath the surface it was coming from this place of grasping and not enoughness. Anytime I acted in this department, it always left me feeling a bit dissatisfied and uneasy with myself. The more I tried, actually, the more not okay I felt. So this first practice that I want to share is very simple, but it has genuinely changed my life. It's this collage, guys. It's this collage of my loved ones. This is Cheddar, my cat. And then over here is my partner, my dad, my mom, and then my partner and I at the beach. I've received this idea from chapter 3 of the book, where the practice was to carry around photographs of your loved ones and look at them throughout the day and feel the deep gratitude that you have for them. So that's why I printed out this collage. And initially I was going to cut it up and just have these individual photographs and just look at them throughout the day. But this collage, when I picked it up at Walgreens, just looking at this for the first time made me feel so happy. And not only the first time, but every single time after that. This is my community. This is where I belong. I was trying so hard to find belonging and community outside of, what is already here. But this collage and looking at this every single morning reminds me that I'm already supported. I'm already deeply loved. I'm already surrounded by people who are ride or die for me. And even if you don't have multiple people to make a collage out of, just having a place, a pet, a tree, or like a food item that you love and feel so supported by. It doesn't have to be people necessarily, but it's just a constant reminder that, yeah, these are sources of unconditional support and love. So looking at this every single day, it shifted me out of this desperation, and it showed me that everything that I wanted was already here. How much more do I need? Like how many loving and close interpersonal connections do I need in my life in order for me to finally say, yeah, like I'm loved. Yeah, I feel supported. Perhaps this is enough, and it always has been enough. I was just too focused on the exploring and looking outwards that I wasn't really nurturing this gratitude for what was already existing in my life. The second practice that I want to share is this book that I have been writing my daily list of 10 things that I'm grateful for every single day. This practice is also from the book The Magic. It was from the first chapter where it suggested that every single morning, the first thing that you do is write a list of 10 things that you're grateful for. Like, for example, I'm grateful for my cat, and then conclude it with because. So end it with a why you're grateful for your cat. So I've been doing this almost every single day for the past 2 weeks. And honestly, 10 things is a lot. 10 things is a lot. Especially when I first started this out, I was kind of struggling to come up with 10 things every single day. Like I really had to brainstorm. But I think that is the beauty of this practice, that as I continued this every morning, I realized that the limits of my gratitude and my appreciation wasn't because of the literal limits of my physical reality. It was actually the limits of my mind that was keeping me in this state of, I don't have much to be grateful for. In this book, it said that taking things for granted is us taking, hence the word take. But then us giving thanks is us giving. If we're constantly in this mode of taking things for granted, then we're not giving. And if we're not giving, then whatever is on the receiving end of that energy wouldn't want to give back into our lives too. So when the book put it like that, it opened my eyes, because I saw just how much I was taking things for granted every single day. I've just been taking it all for granted. So this practice of writing 10 things in here every single day, initially it was hard, but then I realized that it actually never runs out, the things that I'm grateful for. That sometimes it requires a bit of creativity and forward outside thinking, but once I open my heart enough and I ground into the present moment, I start to see and feel just how much love there is, whether it's in the hundreds of material objects in my life that support me, whether it's in the traits of the people who I love, whether it's in nature and her abundance and beauty, and I also started to write in here the things that I'm grateful for of other people's blessings, like my partners or my parents. Like I was writing in here that I'm grateful for their joys and their successes. It really, once you practice this every single day, it grows our capacity to find appreciation in things that aren't exactly related to us. These two practices have been changing my life. How I am nowadays, I want to end this video with that. I guess I'm not really searching anymore. I am so fulfilled with my life and with my cozy home life, with my family, with my relationship, with my partner, with my cat, just everything that has been here. It is really starting to feel like it's enough. Because I started sinking into that state, I realized that a lot of the community spaces that I was, going to back then, it wasn't from this place of true love. Because honestly, it was a little bit too far, or the timing didn't work out in my schedule. It was too late into the day where I had to convince myself almost every single time to show up for the sake of community. But this is where the concept of ease also comes back in, inviting more ease and trust into my life. I trust that I don't need to sacrifice that, this feeling of like, oh, like this feels right, in order to bring what I want into my life. And I say bring what I want, but honestly, I'm very also satisfied and fulfilled with what I have. So it's not like I'm saying that waiting for those things. It's just where I'm operating from, it has completely changed. So yeah, I just feel very, very still and secure. And I know that the more I practice gratitude, the more this sense of enoughness will only solidify and grow stronger. I think that's at the core what we all want to feel. Just what we have and what we're doing and who we're with. It's just all enough. Can it finally be enough? Can it? It can. It can finally be enough. And that doesn't mean that, we don't have aspirations or goals. Actually, I want to share this excerpt from Tara Brach's podcast. She recently did a Ask Me Anything episode.
And goals can be really skillful. They can focus our attention on something that matters, and they can energize us, and they can help us really establish a regular practice. But there's a shadow side to goals. And this is what I think you're hearing from different teachers, which is goals point us towards the future. They create this subtle kind of leaning forward, the sense of what I'm looking for isn't here, it's ahead. And that striving towards actually pulls us away from the very presence that meditation's inviting. Now, aspiration's different. Aspiration is the heart's deepest longing to realize, to express what's possible right here. To the aspiration, let's say, for presence right here, for love right in this moment, to feel creativity or aliveness. So rather than creating tension, aspiration actually feels spacious. It doesn't pull us into the future. It keeps inviting us to awaken to what's here in this moment.
I love Tara Brach and her work so much. So much. I notice that if I go a long period of time without listening to her podcast, I start to feel a little bit dysregulated again. So just consistently listening to her podcast is a practice for me as well. And let's say for things like community, right? Perhaps it is here right now. Perhaps it is. Perhaps we could find it with nature, with our neighbors, with the people who we come into contact with at the gym or at the grocery store. Perhaps it has been here. And I think one thing that I'm letting go of is community back in the day when I was in school looked like this version. And so much of my grasping and dissatisfaction was because I was trying to replicate that version of community into this current season of my life. But truth is that I can't ever replicate that because that community, it happened based on those specific circumstances. And my life is different now. I'm in a different season of life. I'm in a different chapter. So can I open my heart enough? Can I let go of my attachments to how things were back then and see if I could accept this version of community and really, really deepen into it. Let myself feel loved. Let myself feel the support that is here. Even though it doesn't look like the community of the past, it is the community of the now, and that is what matters. That is what matters so much. I hope that this video brings you closer to this feeling of enoughness and peace. At the end, that is what I want my days to feel like, just peace. I just want to feel peace.